to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today, we are here. We're doing a slightly different take on what we used to go and do of the Saints of the Month. In fact, and the fact that these aren't actually necessarily saints in this month.
No, they're all saints from this month.
Oh, okay.
They're not for every day. It's just saints that in some way vibe with it being the month of Halloween.
Oh, okay. So they are saints for the month of October.
They are.
They were picked more for the feels that you get. Rather than this is where the calendar puts them.
And we're not trying to do at least one for every of the 31 days of October.
No.
Or, as some would say, the 31 days of Halloween.
That's all we call it here.
I'm not saying otherwise.
Anyway, so...
However you celebrate.
Yes. So, starting out on the 1st.
The first!
We have Blessed Caspar
Fisogiro.
Whose name, of course, is one letter off of being Caspar, the friendly ghost.
Well, it's one letter off of being Caspar.
Yes.
Because he's Caspar.
Yes, I read it twice. Anyway, but he was actually a convert to the faith who was a member of the... say it.
Confraternity.
Confraternity of the Holy Rosary, who was killed in Nagasaki in 1617.
Hey, good for him.
And then the next one, who is also a first feast day, it's kind of makes you think of a retro costume. Your parents might have dressed as the name that you're thinking of. Of Saint Ralph Crockett, who
is not related to Davy Crockett as far as we can tell.
As far as we know. However, if you mispronounce a lot of British names that end in ER with the E, you can fit the story vaguely in the song. Because he was born on Barton in the hills of Chestery, studied at Christ College at Cambury, went to Reims, France to become a priest. He was martyred in Chestery. Saint Ralph Crockett.
Saint Ralph Crockett, king of the wild frontier.
I mean, he was one of those British martyrs, but you know.
I don't know.
Saint Ralph Crockett.
I don't know, given that he went to Christ College in Cambridge, that you could suggest that he was a king of the wild frontier.
Well, again, he was not going to settled Oxford, but wild Cambridge, so...
I mean, he might have gone to Oxford, too. There was 2 schools, but the other one, you couldn't even slant rhyme it, by mispronouncing things.
But since in those days you had to be Anglican to get in, it was clearly there that he had a conversion, went to Reims to be ordained, came back and was martyred because, well, things were still rough then. Yes.
Then, on the 5th, we have one of our favorite Halloweeny names for a saint.
Saint Boniface.
Some people pronounce it Boniface. Ridiculous.
This one was martyred with Saint Polymus and companions in what we now have as Germany in 287.
Saint Palmatius.
So this is one of your early Bonifaces. Not a later Boniface, an
That's
early
why he has no
Boniface.
number.
He's Saint Boniface.
Boniface.
No number. After that, we have Saint Placid.
I'm rooting for the crocodile.
Actual saint was thought to have been saved from drowning by Saint Benedict.
So I guess I shouldn't root for the crocodile. I was not expecting him to be in crocodile-infested waters.
Well, but I mean, it's Betty White's crocodile, so what are you going to do? No, but just Saint Placid. He was
chill. Which, when
you're infested with giant crocodiles.
Which, when you're in the middle of a horror film, you want the guy who can be chill.
Because people that freak out, they freak out and they run straight into the killer.
They do something stupid, like go either upstairs or down into the basement.
Or right to the lakeside and then the crocodile.
Yeah.
On October 6th.
Just one day later.
Yep. We have a saint who's got an interesting name.
Saint Erotis.
Back at your wow.
Yep.
As far as we're aware, they never dressed as a sexy ex.
Confident this was a saint who was very chaste and proper. Maybe.
Well, he was
They were a Greek martyr who was killed at the stake. Which, by the way, is a totally Halloween-y way to go.
Very much so.
Yes.
Very much so. Very apropos. Well done.
All right. On the 10th, we have
10-10?
Yes,
on 1010 we have, and I know that these things exist, but I still find it hard to believe.
Very hard.
Well, the world is full of wonders.
Yep.
Saint Francis Borgia. I know there were good Borgias. I know that, in fact, the bad Borgias were only exemplar in that they were so bad and not that there were so many of them.
Nevertheless, the family name is a byword for depravity and evil. And yet, one of them is, in fact, a canonized saint.
Who I can say did 100% less poisoning than his great-aunt did. Or possibly great-great-aunt. You know, those trees are weird, but, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, his tree was...
Still, 100% less poisoning.
Mm-hmm. Even if her number was greatly exaggerated.
Still, he did no poisoning.
Yep. He was a duke that gave up his title after his wife died to become a Jesuit. And was known for being humble, even when he was made the superior general.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, he was still a Borgia. They're like, look, we got the duke. He's like, I'm just shoveling out mucking the stalls here. It's okay, guys.
Guys, I'm trying to be a saint. I'm not like the rest of them.
I know you want me to have that job. I just want you guys to understand, I don't need that job. I'm good.
Well, like all of us should, he was a true servant leader.
Right. Next day, on the 11th, we have Saint
Ethelburga of Barking.
Who was not a werewolf, as far as we know.
But she was an abbess, a princess, and sister to many saints. Spiritual sister or actual,
actual
blood sister? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I believe when we were actually doing the saints for each thing, we might have either discussed her or her siblings.
Okay.
Because it was, it was a family of like 4 or 5, and they were all, princess saints.
There's a lot of examples of saints coming in clusters, either whole families or a close group of friends. You can be a saint all by yourself, but it's easier in community. Again, Saint Mike Wilson and Companions. It's going to be great, totally great.
I mean, you do know, at the point of Incompanions, you're a martyr saint. Like, they never are like this group that lived an old life,
Jess, I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm just looking at where all of us are, and I'm thinking our best chance is martyrdom.
With you getting to be the speaker, huh? You're like, well, my name's easiest to remember.
Look,
Vanderclock is very hard to spell.
In fairness, I think there's no one of us that is so poorly known that we would just be the end companion. I think it would simply be communities that were St. Michael and companions, and other communities where it's St. Jessica and companions.
That I could see.
All right. Anyway, October 13th. So every once in a while,
which is occasionally
Friday
a Friday.
the 13th of Halloween.
But it's not Friday this year, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, Sunday's good too.
But we have
St. Faustus. Wow.
Made some kind of bargain, did he?
No, he did not.
Never made the...
Because obviously if he had, he wouldn't be a saint.
As far as we can tell, never made the Faustian bargain.
I mean, I didn't do one who used to be a Satanist and then became a Christian and was
Blessed
killed.
Bartolo Longo.
Who technically had made a Faustian bargain.
Was a martyring of Cordoba, Spain in 304. Not the one you were talking about. The one.
Saint Faustus.
Yes.
Yeah, in the Great Persecution under Diocletian. Yikes.
And until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
And share that love.